Welcome to Worlds UK, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The cold January air over the Taiwan Strait is thick with tension, as if the very atmosphere is holding its breath. The sea below, usually a bustling corridor of commerce and fishing boats, now feels eerily quiet, its surface broken only by the distant hum of engines, and the occasional flash of signal lights in the mist. Below, American destroyers slice through dark waters, their decks bristling with missiles, a visible line drawn in the sea. These warships, symbols of American resolve, move with deliberate purpose, their crews alert to every shadow and ripple, knowing that a single miscalculation could ignite a conflict with global consequences. High above, F-22 Raptors patrol in wide arcs, their sleek forms cutting through the clouds. Every maneuver is tracked not just by radar, but by the eyes of the world, as each side tests the other's resolve in a high-stakes aerial chess match. The pilots, trained for moments like this, know that their every move is a message. On the USS John Finn, sailors drill with focused intensity, running through emergency procedures and combat drills. They know they're at the epicenter of a brewing storm, their actions scrutinized by commanders and adversaries alike. Every clang of metal and shouted order echoes the gravity of their mission. Their presence near China is a direct challenge, a message of deterrence and support for Taiwan. The ship's proximity to disputed waters is a calculated risk, meant to reassure allies and warn adversaries that the United States will not back down from its commitments. Radar systems sweep the horizon, tracking any sign of a Chinese response. Operators monitor screens for the faintest blip, knowing that the difference between routine and crisis could be measured in seconds. The tension is palpable, every rotation of the antenna a reminder of the stakes. Just over the horizon, the PLA Navy watches, its own ships and aircraft ready to scramble at a moment's notice. Chinese commanders issue orders with steely precision, determined not to yield an inch in these contested waters. The standoff is silent, but the threat is unmistakable. This military ballet intensified after a major U.S. arms sale to Taiwan and bolder statements from American allies. Warships and fighter jets now maneuver in complex formations, each side demonstrating strength and resolve, hoping to deter the other from making the first move. Beijing's response, furious live-fire drills and images of J-15 jets launching from carriers, rehearsing a blockade. The world watches as Chinese forces practice scenarios that once seemed unthinkable, their message clear: they are prepared to escalate if provoked. For American sailors and pilots, the message is clear. They are participants in a high-stakes confrontation. Every briefing, every mission, is underscored by the knowledge that history could be written in these waters, and that their actions may shape the fate of nations. The world stands on the edge of a potential global crisis. The Taiwan Strait transformed from a vital trade route into a flashpoint where the ambitions of great powers collide. As tensions mount, the question remains: who will blink first? Taiwan, an island nation home to 24 million people, sits at a crossroads of history and geopolitics. Its vibrant cities pulse with energy, blending ancient traditions with cutting-edge innovation. From the bustling night markets to the high-tech hubs, Taiwan is a place where the past and future meet. But Taiwan is more than just a thriving democracy. It's at the heart of a global struggle for freedom and influence. Its people have built a society that values open debate, free elections, and civil liberties. Standing in stark contrast to the authoritarian model across the strait, Taiwan is also the world's leading producer of advanced semiconductor chips, tiny components that power everything from smartphones and cars, to medical devices and missiles. These chips are the backbone of the modern digital economy, making Taiwan indispensable to global supply chains. Any disruption to this supply would send shockwaves through the global economy, halting production lines and affecting millions of lives worldwide. The world's dependence on Taiwan's technology is profound and often underestimated. For the United States, protecting Taiwan's autonomy isn't just a matter of principle, it's a strategic imperative. The U.S. has long-standing commitments to Taiwan's security, and its credibility as a global leader is on the line. A Chinese takeover of Taiwan would dramatically shift the global balance of power, emboldening authoritarian regimes and challenging the rules-based international order. Taiwan's strategic location is crucial. Control of the island would allow China to project military power deep into the Pacific, threatening U.S. bases, allies, and vital shipping lanes that connect Asia to the world. For Japan, Taiwan's security is directly linked to its own. The sea lanes between the two are lifelines for Japanese trade and energy supplies, making any threat to Taiwan a direct risk to Japan's national interests. Japanese leaders, including Prime Minister Takaichi, have declared that a Chinese attack on Taiwan would be a grave threat to Japan's survival, signaling a new era of regional security concerns. For the democratic world, Taiwan stands as a symbol, a front line in the contest between democracy and authoritarianism. Its fate is a test of the world's resolve to defend freedom and self-determination. The international community watches closely, knowing that Taiwan's future is deeply entangled with the future of the global order and the principles that underpin it. The stakes in Taiwan are about more than territory. They're about sovereignty, democracy, and the hope for a stable, peaceful world for generations to come. For China and Xi Jinping, Taiwan is a renegade province. Reunification is non-negotiable. This belief is rooted in national identity and historical grievance. The U.S. arms sale to Taiwan was condemned as a violation of China's sovereignty. Xi's New Year address declared reunification unstoppable, warning against foreign interference. China ramped up military intimidation, live fire drills, simulated invasions, and routine incursions across the Taiwan Strait's median line. Beijing sees Taiwan's ruling party as separatists, accusing them of turning the island into a U.S. outpost. State media unites the population behind this hardline stance, preparing them for potential conflict. Japan's pacifist stance is shifting as tensions over Taiwan rise. Prime Minister Takaichi's declaration marked a new era. Japan is now willing to consider military involvement. Japan is fortifying its southwestern islands with missile batteries, radar, and airfields for F-35s, creating a defensive barrier. The U.S. supports this shift, conducting joint drills and deepening military cooperation. This marks Japan's most significant defense change in 70 years. China reacted with outrage, accusing Japan of returning to militarism. Tensions flared when Chinese jets locked radar on Japanese fighters near Okinawa. By standing firm on Taiwan, Japan has placed itself on the front line of Asia's most dangerous dispute. The U.S. has answered China's pressure with a powerful show of force, sending a clear message to both allies and rivals in the region. American warships and aircraft now operate with greater frequency and visibility, signaling a renewed commitment to defending the status quo in the Indo-Pacific. This visible presence is not just about military might, it's about reassurance, deterrence, and demonstrating resolve. Integrated deterrence is the new watchword, blending military strength, robust alliances, and economic power to raise the cost of any potential invasion. The U.S. is working closely with partners, conducting joint exercises and sharing intelligence to ensure that any aggression would be met with a unified response. This approach leverages not just firepower, but also the economic and diplomatic weight of a coalition. The U.S. Navy now patrols the Taiwan Strait more frequently, making it clear that these are international waters open to all. Each transit is a deliberate act, reinforcing freedom of navigation and challenging any attempts to change the status quo by force. Long-range missiles have been deployed to regional bases, putting key Chinese military assets within reach. These deployments are designed to complicate any invasion plans and provide credible options for rapid response in a crisis. The latest arms sale to Taiwan included advanced missiles and cutting-edge defense systems, helping build a porcupine defense that would make any attack costly and difficult. These new capabilities are a signal that Taiwan is not alone in its preparations. The U.S. is transforming Taiwan's military into a more resilient, agile force, one capable of withstanding initial strikes and fighting back. American advisors are helping train troops, modernize tactics, and strengthen defenses across the island. Alliances are key. Military cooperation with Japan, the Philippines, and Australia is deepening, creating a web of partnerships that extends deterrence across the region. These relationships are built on shared interests and a common vision for security. The goal is ambitious: a network of nations upholding a free and open Indo-Pacific where no single power can dominate. This vision relies on trust, coordination, and the willingness to stand together in the face of threats. But Washington must balance deterrence with the need to avoid war, supporting Taiwan's security without abandoning the One China policy. Diplomacy remains essential, even as military preparations intensify. Every move is a calculated risk in a high-stakes game, where missteps could have global consequences. Military planners weigh each decision carefully, knowing the margin for error is razor-thin. The increased U.S. presence deters China, but also raises the risk of direct confrontation. Close encounters at sea and in the air are becoming more frequent, each one a potential flashpoint. The region is now a landscape of heightened alert and simmering anxiety, where the balance between peace and conflict grows ever more precarious. As tensions rise, China opens a new front: economic warfare. In January 2026, Beijing announced a ban on dual-use exports to Japan, hinting at rare earth minerals. Rare earths are essential for modern tech and defense. China controls most of the world's supply and processing. By threatening a cutoff, Beijing wields immense leverage over Japan and the West. This echoes a 2010 ban that caused panic in global markets. The US and allies have tried to diversify, but new supply chains are slow and costly. The uncertainty alone is disrupting Japanese industry and chilling investment. China's economic coercion aims to pressure Japan into a softer stance on Taiwan. This is warfare fought with supply chains, not bullets. China has launched a sophisticated propaganda campaign targeting Japan. State media and diplomats paint Japan as a resurgent military threat, invoking memories of World War II and colonial rule over Taiwan. The campaign frames Japan's military buildup as a return to imperialism, not a response to Chinese aggression. China accuses Japan at the UN of interfering in internal affairs. Domestically, media stokes nationalist sentiment, justifying Beijing's hardline stance. Travel advisories and bans on Japanese goods aim to hurt Japan's economy and sway public opinion. By weaponizing history, China seeks to isolate Japan and shift focus from its own actions. The Taiwan Strait crisis is sending shockwaves worldwide, fueling fear and economic uncertainty. Markets are volatile, reacting to every military drill and threat. Foreign investment in China is declining as companies seek safer supply chains. Bans and threats reinforce the risks of doing business with China. International alliances are strained. Europe is torn between economic ties to China and security with the US. For people in the region, anxiety is constant. Taiwanese, Japanese, and Filipinos live on the front line. Even in China, relentless propaganda creates a hypercharged atmosphere. The crisis is not just economic, it's deeply human, shaping the lives and fears of millions. As 2026 begins, the Taiwan Strait is balanced on a knife's edge. The future could mean a tense, militarized standoff, a new cold peace, or, with luck, gradual de-escalation through diplomacy. But deep mistrust and nationalism make compromise unlikely. The most terrifying scenario, a hot conflict triggered by miscalculation or a deliberate move from Beijing. War would draw in the US and Japan, with catastrophic consequences for the world. The region's fate rests on choices made in the coming months. The hardware is in place, red lines drawn, rhetoric at a fever pitch. The world can only hope leaders find a way to avoid a conflict that would define the century for all the wrong reasons.